Hello, welcome back. Today, another quick update about the report we just published. If you have not seen it, there's a description in the comment section. Have a look really out of the report. I think it's quite a tactical report. It's very interesting with everything that's going on right now. Of course, Bitcoin is in a bear market. We have extensively, reported about this. We have made another video that is, of course, available also on our YouTube channel that you can check it out. But the question really is it time to really chase the bear lower here or really go against the trend? Right now, of course, Bitcoin is touching for the fourth time the lower trend support. We have really seen this line not being broken extensively for the last 3 years. The question is, are we going to go back up or are we going to go down here? It's really an extremely interesting and extremely important level here that Bitcoin holds this level. It really is the defining level of this bull market. If Bitcoin cannot hold here, we are definitely no longer in a bear market. But of course, we have seen already a lot of on-chain indicators that have already confirmed that Bitcoin is not in a bear market. But usually the most successful traders make the most amount of money really in the bear market, because the market doesn't go down in a straight line. There always tend to be violent counter trend rallies, and we might be upon such a counter trend rally right now. Of course, we have been quite bearish, ourselves since October 31st. We have pushed an Ethereum short. Ethereum has gone down 20% since our call. We expected it to go down a little bit more. It was an out of consensus call, but once Ethereum broke some technical levels, we were quite confident that the bear trend would establish itself, because there was not a lot of buying. There was not a lot of buying from ETF holders. There was not a lot of buying, on-chain activity. So there was not really a case to be made to be long Ethereum here. And I think that was why we were so confident, and this was our preferred short, even more bearish than on Bitcoin, at the point of time. And in addition, we were also quite negative on Coinbase. On November 2nd, we published a report indicating that the shares were trading at 344, and then they dropped now to like 262. But in our report, we indicated that it was time to actually sell upside calls, because of after the earnings report that the implied yield for the options was actually quite elevated, and traders could make 5% return if they just sold these upside call options with a strike price of 390, which didn't seem to us would be reachable, as the shares were 7% overvalued versus Bitcoin, and we were quite negative on Bitcoin at that point anyways. So there was a margin of safety. And of course, now since the shares have dropped to $262, the value of those options has actually been crushed, and it's really negligible now. And I think that's quite an interesting trade setup, how we can also generate yield in a bear market. So it doesn't have to be necessarily directional, but it's really looking for those opportunities. Of course, when we look at our own sentiment indicator, our own greed and fear indicator, it's really near the absolute low. So sentiment is really, really bad. And every time we hit sort of like this fear level, and we have seen this now for the third time, we have actually bounced. But in March also, where we hit the absolute low, we had a 10% rebound in Bitcoin. But then, of course, we had another leg lower into the early April, tariff conundrum, really, where Trump really indicated, how much tariff he wants to collect from everybody in the world. But nevertheless, we are here at the level, and I think this is a very interesting sentiment indicator that warrants some caution for the bears. And I think tactically, you can make an argument that Bitcoin might actually rally from here. Of course, when we look at also at the oversold levels, we are near really the minus or minus the 30% level, where very often counter trend rallies have reestablished itself. Here, of course, the question is this correction deep enough? But as we have seen during the 2 years pre-instances, there was sort of like the bottoming period. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but it might be the next couple of days. It doesn't mean that the bear market is over, but it definitely is a level where it's very difficult to really continue to press the shorts. For example, we have been short since 112,000 for Bitcoin, so it's almost like a 20% drop here with oversold levels, with sentiment at really quite oversold levels. So the market could actually rebound. In our report, we talk also about option skew, how that changed. We talk about the Binance, the Binance level versus the Coinbase level for Bitcoin. How that really fits into the global trend and sentiment. And of course, we have a few catalysts coming up right now. That's why we talk in our report really for an opportunity, what traders can look at. So if you like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe, like, check out our other videos, and see you soon. We want to keep it short. If you want to read the report, there's a link in the description below, and see you soon.